first speaker is Elizabeth Patterson. Elizabeth Patterson. If you mention her name, you immediately think of Benicia. And if you mention Benicia, you think of Elizabeth Patterson. She was 13 years our mayor. Yep. 4 years city council member. And before that, on the city planning committee. Elizabeth is a proactive visionary. She's passionate about the environment, about sustainability, and about women's rights. Elizabeth led this city through some really challenging times. She knows what it means to stand up, to speak out, to hold your own as a competent, capable, and strong woman in what's called a man's world. We are grateful to Elizabeth for her leadership and for herself as a role model to every woman who believes in herself, believes in her ability, and wants to leave a positive impact on the world. I give you Elizabeth Patterson.
Thank you very much. It's, can you hear me? Because as Kathy says, you can't hear up here. Okay, great. I really am so pleased to see so many people, familiar faces, and some new faces. I love new faces. Let's all get together. This is about solidarity. And we need to stand by all our friends, sisters, mothers, transgenders, everybody who is under siege by this attack on the fundamental rights of having people say what they want to say can happen to your body. So the first thing I want to say is I want to thank you for standing up today, and some of you are sitting down, but being here matters. And I want to say thank you to Nikki. She is relentless. And to Kathy, who is the organizer extraordinaire, and I know there are others who worked with them to make this happen. This is an amazing effort to turn around so quickly and have such a great turnout. So just another round of applause, a great thanks for them. I want to thank the Benicia Herald. It's kind of rare these days to see something that's mildly controversial, haha, and on the front page, above the fold. So thank you, Benicia Herald. And I can't possibly forget the work that Roger Straw does with the Benicia Independence. And so thank you so much, Roger Straw. We all are trying to do our part, and in this world, it takes a whole lot of folks to work together. And that's why it's really important that you're here and that you can go out after this walk up the street, which unfortunately I can't join you in because I'm actually missing an event I'm supposed to be at. But I wanted to be here. After 6 decades, I cannot believe I'm doing this, but here we are. And again, and again, and again. So as I said, my remarks will be brief because I am late, but this is important to me. And I just want to acknowledge the great lineup that we have for speakers. Lori Wilson, let's hear it for Lori Wilson, our new assembly person. She is amazing. When you work with Lori Wilson, you will be filled with energy and ideas and determination to make things happen. So anything we can do to make sure Lori gets elected is really important. There are a couple other potential candidates in the crowd. I won't mention them by name, like Carrie Birdseye and Terry Scott, but I will say that the candidates who support the women's rights are the candidates that we support. We have other speakers who are smart and determined, independent women, and I'm so very grateful for all of that. And I'm really, truly sorry. I will miss their speeches, but my friend, Constance Butel, is right here, and she's kind of world famous for her videos. So we will make sure that you can see everything if you miss part of it. Well, as one woman said recently, how dare they? Those are words from our Vice President, Kamala Harris. Let's hear it for our Vice President. You couldn't be more right. How dare they? That says it all. Who are they to tell us what to do? Who are they to rule over our bodies? Who are they to discount us as human beings? We are human, and we are intelligent, and we are smart, and we know the right choices we make. Let me tell you a few things that in protecting women and transgenders and others who are involved in reproductive health is that over 60% of the women who get abortions are parents, a mother, usually 2 children. Over 85% are people who are slightly under the federal poverty level or slightly above it. I won't go into the details, but there's a technical difference, but that's 80%. That is a huge number. This is an attack on poor people. Just like making welfare parents have to go work when they don't have universal preschool. They don't have family leave with pay. They don't have universal health care. They have none of the tools that would help them go to work, and yet they have to go to work in order to get money to support their family. Their meager funds don't make it. This is an attack not just on women, but on poor people. So while the Constitution bans any religious test for office, we have a Supreme Court that's dominated by religious zealots. Yes. I didn't say what religion. I didn't even say organized religion. I simply said religious zealot. So how dare they, indeed? Just wait. Next, it will be contraception. Next, it might be gay marriage. Next, it might be health care for transgender people. There's probably a list that is in someone's pocket that they're drooling over that I can't even imagine what they would go after. These are rights that have taken a really long time to get. If you think about women not having the vote until 1919, that's pretty significant, don't you think? You think about black folks not being able to vote because of violence against them and all kinds of other requirements that were not necessary until 1965. 1965. I was alive then. Thank you for laughing. It's so much fun getting old. So to close, instead of a Ferris wheel for adoption, let's have the things that we need to have a healthy family and reproductive health care, and support those who support that, remain in solidarity with all, and I look forward to our next effort of success and celebrating our success. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Lori Wilson. Lori Wilson has served the city of Sassoon for over a decade, the last 4 years as mayor. In April of this year, she was sworn in as the California State Assembly member. And she will run for re-election this year. Lori Wilson is passionate about improving our schools, tackling homelessness, providing health care for all. And that includes a woman's right to her own reproductive decisions. I give you California Assembly Member Lori Wilson.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Are you guys ready to fight? You ready to march? You ready to tell everybody what you believe? Amen, amen. So here's the deal. I'm going to speak to you from three different hats today. I'll start first with the hat of an assembly member. All right. And as a proud member of the Women's Caucus and the legislature, they have been working on this particular issue for well before I got there. So I am not laying claim to any work that I've done in the last 38 days. It's the work that they've been doing for years and years and years. And they understood that overturning Roe would not stop abortions, but rather lead to unsafe and deadly abortions for communities of color, low-income communities, trans, and other marginalized communities across the U.S. They saw it coming. So in January, they introduced a package of 13 bills to ensure California was able to be a refuge state for women here and across the nation. Now, this package protects our reproductive rights by increasing access and privacy of anyone seeking or performing an abortion. And they also our Women's Caucus stood with Senate Pro Tem Atkins, Assembly Speaker Rendon, and Governor Newsom in support of a constitutional amendment to enshrine the right to choose in our state constitution. So there is no doubt as to the right of abortion in the state of California. In California, we lead, and we will be a national beacon for reproductive justice. Now I'm going to put on my candidate for assembly hat. I ran for assembly really because of a firm philosophical political belief, and that is everyone has a right to a high quality of life. Everyone has a right to define what that looks like for themselves. And it's my job to facilitate that. So you can know that as a member of the assembly, I will fight for your right to define what quality of life looks like for you. I will fight for your right, whether male or female, to have choice in what your future looks like. And that really is rooted, thank you, that really is rooted by the other hat I'm going to put on to you today, just as a person. As a person whose faith is deeply rooted in me, many don't know this, I'm an ordained pastor. And I had my own moment when I was a young teenager of a point of choice, a choice that was really important to me. I had gone to Planned Parenthood numerous times before this time for health care services for women, young women. And a lot of times that's our place of refuge because we don't go to our practitioner, our normal pediatric doctor for our services, right? And so I went there numerous times before, so I was familiar with it. And this time I went because I had missed my cycle. And I thought maybe I could be pregnant the way my body was feeling. And sure enough, me and my best friend for life, we went down there. And I remember sitting on the edge of the table and my legs were dangling like only a little kid's would, basically. Forget how young I was. And I was sitting there and I remember her telling me that I was pregnant. And the next words were really key. And she was like, and you have options. And so we went into another room and she just talked me through my options. In that moment, I felt heard, I felt cared for, I felt supported. And she was like, whatever you choose, it doesn't matter. Know that you're doing it as a confident person who this is your life. And only you can decide your future. And in the coming days, people are going to talk to you about their opinions and how they feel about it. And it doesn't matter. This is your life, and you get to choose what's best for you. So I left with my friend, and we ended up, going to McDonald's right after, like only a teenager would. And I was still shell-shocked. And about a week later, The counselor called me again. We were talking through, and I had more questions for her about my different options. And she was just as sweet as can be. She was very objective and just telling me what my options were. I felt good. I felt like, okay. And so a few weeks she told me I had time, and I appreciated that. A couple weeks later, I called her and I said, I'm going to have my baby. And she was like, congratulations. And she was like, and we're still here for you. We're still here for you. And they absolutely were. And although I was a teenage mother, I was a better parent. I was a stronger parent because it was my choice to have my child. And no one had forced me to have my child. And I can't tell you how many women I've talked to as a pastor who I've counseled through these various decisions and laid out and told them about all of their options because it was their choice. And I can't tell you how many, all the women have chose different things. And I've been there with them every step of the way. Back to Planned Parenthood, back to, their doctor's appointments if they were choosing to have their baby. It didn't matter. But the point is, at the end of the day, it's about choice and it's about freedom. And we live in a country where we have our own personal agency. And no one has a right to take away our own agency. And definitely not the government. So with that, know that I will be a fighter for you. I'll make sure you have a voice at the table, and I will make sure that you have choice to be able to choose your future. And that includes what you do with your body. Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here with all of you in the fight.
It's Sharon Henry. Yeah. Sharon Henry is a veteran prosecutor, a 34-year passionate public servant to the citizens of Solano County. She is running for Solano County District Attorney. Yeah. Sharon Henry stands for community engagement, public trust, victims' rights, mental health, racial equality, and a woman's reproductive rights. I give you our next district attorney, Sharon Henry.
Well, hello there. It's great to see so many of you out here. And to the men who are out here, more power. I learned about the Supreme Court leak from my brother. Early in the morning, he called me and he's like, Sharon, have you heard? And I'm like, what's going on? And he told me, and he was so upset. I brought my young son here, 15 years old today, so that he could witness the strength and power of the people in opposition to the highest court in this land, right, having the nerve to tell us what to do with our bodies. Someone reached out to me last week, someone I didn't know. She called the campaign phone line and was very, upset. I actually called her back from my cell phone, and I didn't block the number because she was very upset. And she had a really, really good question. She wanted to know that she posed this question. When I'm elected district attorney in California, right now we're safe because this state is controlled by the Democratic Party. We have a Democratic governor, thank God. We have Democratic Assembly and Democratic Senate, thank God. But in the unfortunate event that things change, and God, from my mouth to God's ears, that it won't change. But in the event, if it changes and California passes these laws, anti-abortion, anti-choice laws, would you, as district attorney, prosecute women and doctors and the people who are helping doctors, with these pro-choice decisions? And I said, absolutely not. As a lawyer, in law school, actually, there was a quote that stood out to me from John Marshall, who was I believe, our first Supreme Court justice. And he said in a landmark decision that a law that is repugnant to the Constitution is void. And that stuck with me. We have been fighting, and as an African-American woman, freedom means so much, right? And freedom to choose means so much. And it is a shame that here we are, after decades past Roe v. Wade, we are in a position where we have to stand up and continue to fight. But I just want to say here today that we have to. We have to stand up. Men, women, young boys, young girls, for our future, we have to stand up. And do what is right. Thank you so much for having me today. We're going to stick around for as long as we can. I have other events to attend, but this is so important. And we're going to be here. We're going to be here with you. We're going to be here for the people of this state of California. We're going to be here for the people of this country in opposition to the Supreme Court's decision. Thank you so much.
And now our Mayor, Steve Young, is going to introduce our City Council member, Christina Strawbridge.
Thank you, Kathy. It's really shocking that we even have to be here today to, it's shocking that we have to be out here today protesting a right that's been available to women for 50 years. We have a Supreme Court majority made up of, frankly, religious zealots who are putting their own personal beliefs. It's great that they have their own personal beliefs, but to impose them on the rest of the country is simply wrong. And a lot of people will say, well, what can we do about this? It's really a political question, and short of eliminating the Electoral College, which should happen, we need to vote for pro-choice candidates like Lori Wilson, like Sharon Henry. We also need to support on a national level. There's 4 or 5 Senate races that will determine whether or not the Democrats retain control of the Senate. And those are in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and nearby in Nevada and Arizona. And to the extent that you can, if you are able to support those candidates in those states, it's going to be very important. If you can get to Arizona and Nevada to canvass for the incumbent Democratic senators who are under attack, also important. This is really going to be a political effort to show that the vast majority, and it's polls say basically anywhere between 2/3 and up to 80% of people in this country do not support overturning Roe versus Wade. We are on the right side. We are with the majority. We have to transfer that and translate that into actual power. So that's all I'll say about this. I would like to take the opportunity to introduce the only woman member of the Benicia City Council, Christina Strawbridge.
Thank you all. Are you ready to fight? Yeah, fight. I wore my suffrage white today in reminder of what our sisters back in 1917, 1919 did for us. That meant a lot that we were able to vote, for heaven's sakes. You know, that's only been a little over 100 years ago. It's great to see children here, a lot of younger people, our millennials. They don't understand, I don't think, what it was like before. And we, as adults, people that have gone through this, need to remind them of what it was like before Roe v. Wade. I really believe in sisterhood. We have a few men here too, which are part of our sisterhood. But we, as sisters, need to unite. And that is really, really important going down the road. Dr. Pluchak, who is very well known to many of you, said to me before this event got started is that we need to do a backlash economically to companies, states that are embracing this. And I feel like if we can get to the economics where it hurts the most, the pocketbook, that we might have a chance in this fight. We are not going to sit by idly. And I believe in this cause. I believe that we can unite as sisters and like brothers to make this happen. So, and you know, I feel like it's a shame that I'm only the 7th woman to ever be elected to our city council here in Benicia. Mayor Patterson, who spoke earlier, who's only the 3rd woman to be mayor. So we need to get, you know, more women, more people of color, more diversity on our city council. And I believe that that is going to only help us down the road. So thank you. And again, going back to unite as sisters. It's really important.
Hello, everybody. My name is Maggie Kolk, and I am a Benicia Solano community activist. And I'd like to point out that I'm wearing a button from 1978 Women's March on Washington. And I'm also wearing a button from 1989 saying I'm pro-choice and I vote. Enough said. I'm actually here to introduce your next speaker. The next speaker, and it's my honor and my pleasure to introduce Anna Patero. She's a resident of Fairfield, and she serves on the Fairfield-Solano Unified School District Governing Board. She's a communications studies professor at Solano Community College, and she also serves on the Solano Commission for Women and Girls. Anna is the mother of 5 and the grandmother of 5, and Anna is a righteous rebel. Here's Anna Patero.
Who's pissed? We all should be pissed. The fact that she has to wear a button from 1978 says a lot. What are we doing here? We should not be here. Today, there's an African proverb that says, when you educate a boy, you educate an individual. When you educate a woman, you educate a community. This is a community. Today, I'm going to talk about 3 things. Oh, Ladybird, beautiful, beautiful. What women are, what we do, and where we should be. What are women? We're lawyers, we're teachers, we're doctors, we're counselors, we're laundromat people who take care of our clothes, right? We are chefs. This is all in our own homes. We negotiate with our children and our husbands and our spouses and our significant others. We take care of our children. We pay the bills. We make all of those things happen. While our husbands or our wives go to work, we do the same thing. We do that and we come back and take care of our children and take care of our homes and take care of our husbands and our wives. right? And our community. That's what we do as women. So who the hell do these men think they are to dare to attack our bodies? Ever since I read Justice Alito's comments, I was incensed. I was horrified. For our little girls, my entire life, I've had a choice. Our children, our girls won't. If we don't stand up, that's what women do. What else do? We go out into the community and we help. We take care of each other. We volunteer on top of working. That's what we do. The reason why this happens is because the majority of our local, state, national government is dominated by penises. When masturbatory ejaculation is reckless abandonment, why are we listening to them? We should be listening to us. We're the ones who create the community. We are the ones who are the community. Look around. There are more women here than anybody else. We come here, what are we going to do this afternoon? We're going to go home and take care of our families. We're going to go home and make dinner. We're going to go home and clean our houses. And then tomorrow morning, the majority of us are probably going to go to church. And what do you do at church? You give. We give and we give and we give. And they take and they take and they take. Well, no bloody more. We're so fortunate to live in California. I'm sure we have relatives in Missouri and in Arkansas and in Alabama and in Texas where they're trying to take away their rights. They took away their rights. 6 weeks. Who knows that they're pregnant at 6 weeks? That is ridiculous. I'm here as a woman who's had an abortion. When I was 23 years old, I got pregnant. I told the person with my sperm donor, I guess, that I was pregnant. He said, well, I don't know that I want to be part of this child's life. At that time, I was undocumented. So what is an undocumented person who's not supposed to be here in this country? I was working full time. I had 3 other children. I couldn't take care of this child. I was fortunate enough to find the closest Planned Parenthood, and I said, I need an abortion. It cost me $250. I'm ambivalent, but I'm happy I did this because what life would this person have had? I wouldn't have been able to take care of that person if that person became a person. But that was my choice. I had a choice. I kept the 3 children I could have. And I'm so proud that I'm a mother and a grandmother. I inherited 2 children, that's why I have 5. I got married again and I had 2 children. And so I have 5 children, 5 grandchildren, and I'm so proud to be a mother and a grandmother. I'm also proud that I had a choice. We're fighting for this young lady out here who in her lifetime could possibly get pregnant and not have a choice. Just this last week, they're running out of milk on the shelves, right? And why is that? Because we don't have family leave. Because women have to go to work 2 weeks after they've given birth instead of being able to nurse their children. And they have to purchase formula. Why? Because businesses sell formula. We have breasts and we have milk that we can take care of our children, but if you don't have family leave, how are you going to do that? So there's punishing us on both ways. First, you have to have a kid. Right? You have to give birth. And then, oh, by the way, you don't get family leave, so you have to go back to work. And oh, by the way, there's no formula. So women, we need to be, as we heard earlier, we need to be in local government. We need to be in state government, like Lori Wilson. We need to be in the federal government, and we need to be in the Supreme Court. So let's fight for our daughters here in California, for our daughters in Alabama, for our daughters in Louisiana, for our daughters in Arkansas, for all of us, because there are more of us than there are them. Let's fight for choice. Whether you want to have a child or not, that should be a choice. Men get a choice as to who they want to screw. We should have a choice as when we want to have a child and when we want to start a family. And we should have that choice as well. Let's fight. Bands off our bodies. I'm pissed. Let's continue to be pissed till November 8th.
I want to introduce Dana Dean, who is the trustee of our County Board of Education. She would like to say a few words.
Okay, let me admit the elephant in the room. I have to follow Anna. Who set that up? Anyway, I'm very proud to be here today. I want to start by letting you know, if you don't, that I have for the past 14 years represented you in issues related to our children, how our children are served in our community, in our county, regionally, and in the state. And I'm here today really thinking of them. But I can't help but notice the sea of what I like to call women of substance in front of me. Women of power, experience, knowledge, and abilities. And when I say experience, I'm going to mention that I spoke to Lori a few days ago, and I said to her, hey, are you going to the protest on Saturday? And even as the words were coming out of my mouth, you know what I was thinking. I have been saying those words my entire life. My entire life. And that, for a moment, hit me. But then I started to remember the why. Why am I here? Why are we all here? So I'll tell you a very quick story. You may have heard it. My great-grandmother, who was a beautiful young woman, a model in San Francisco, had 2 little kids. She had an illegal abortion, and she died. And so, of course, I never met her, but when my grandmother was 5. And that resonated, that death and that illegal abortion and the lack of rights that that woman had has resonated, those have resonated throughout my family for generations. So when I think about that, that is part of my why. I am here today, and I think many of us are here today, to honor our ancestors who had to struggle through without the rights that we now enjoy, without the rights that our ancestors fought for and won. And we are here today, I am here today, for the generations that will follow. So not only am I here for my ancestors, I am here for my daughter, Maddie, and my beautiful son-in-law, Garrett. I am here for my cousins, Kyla, I don't know where they are, but yeah, there she is, my cousins. And we know this story. Oh, and Sammy, hi. I'm here for my cousins. I'm here for my descendants, and I hope all of you are here. I know we're tired. I know we all woke up. Most of us of a certain age and of substance woke up that day and said, God, do we have to do this again? Yes, we have to do it again. We're doing it for our ancestors, to honor our ancestors. We're doing it to save and preserve the life of our descendants to come. We are here to preserve the rights that we worked so hard for. So hard for. We cannot let that go. So I hope you will join me in staying strong and re-energizing for the fight ahead. We must continue to fight. I'm honored to be here before you today. Thank you so much for showing up. Thank you.
I am Terry Scott. Big thank you again to Kathy and to Nikki for making this event happen. I'm very proud to stand up and be one of the organizers of today's events. In my heart, I'm still a 1960s, 1970s hippie. I still think I'm 21 and marching on Washington, D.C. to fight the Vietnam War. So today, I felt it was my responsibility to stand up for women's rights. And now, it's my responsibility to introduce Benicia's Poet Laureate, Mary Susan Gast. Mary Susan?
Well, my poem for this morning draws from the vision and promise our nation's Declaration of Independence put forth. It draws upon those words, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, in contrast with the vision and threat presented by proposed total bans on abortion. Uncertain, inalienable rights. Inalienable rights. endowed by our Creator, inalienable rights. Inalienable, can't be gotten rid of, absolute, sacrosanct, unassailable. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Except, of course, if you have likewise been endowed with a functioning uterus, in which case your inalienable rights are up for alienation, trumped and superseded any time, any old time, any young time. Egg and sperm meet within you. If you should conceive, whatever the circumstances, nothing in your life, neither loss of job nor loss of mental health, neither exhaustion nor damage to physical health, neither commitments to vocation nor aging parents, nor anything else in all creation can keep you from becoming a birth mother or die trying. The sectarian, parochial conviction that a fertilized egg is a full human being, that dogma has powered up its wardrobe of late, dapper in judicial robes and senatorial togas, along with its usual ensemble of religious vestments, to propagate and promulgate itself most forcefully as the law of the land, mowing down, devastating life, liberty, pursuit of happiness for those who are unhealthily, unwillingly, or unjoyously pregnant, bodies conscripted for servitude. Enforced birth, coerced procreation, demeans, mocks, belittles, dismisses the generous, arduous, courageous, dangerous, heroic labor of love entered into by those who freely give of themselves to give birth. We hold these truths to be self-evident, inalienable rights, endowed by our Creator. Inalienable rights can't be gotten rid of. Absolute, sacrosanct, unassailable. Say it with me. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Amen.
I have been asked to introduce the president of the Women's League of Voters. She's got a table set up there to remind you how important your vote is. She's going to say only a few words, and then we have Carrie Birdseye.
Thank you. My name is Carol Patterson, and I am president of the League of Women Voters of Solano County. And all I want to say to you is the power that you have in your vote. And we all know this, but sometimes we kind of forget. And I just want you to say back to me, I'm voting. I'm voting. Thank you. Thank you. And if you're not registered to vote, come over to our table and we'll get you all set up. Thank you.
So our final speaker today is Carrie Birdseye. Carrie Birdseye has served on the Benicia Planning Commission for over 7 years. She worked for Earth Justice as a campaign manager and a national press secretary for 5 years. Currently, Carrie serves as Communications Manager at the National Resources Defense Council, the NRDC. She is passionate about the planet Earth, about all that share it, and protecting the natural systems on which all life depends. Carrie is a champion for women's rights. Carrie has recently announced a run for Benicia City Council. And next Sunday, she'll be holding an event at 2 o'clock at the First Street Park, at the other end of First Street where the gazebo is. Please join her. I give you one of our new future city council members, Carrie Birdseye.
Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. And I feel so honored to be up here and to share this podium with so many powerful women. Abortions were illegal when I was born. And ever since the Roe versus Wade decision gave women the right to choose how to manage their own bodies back in 1973, the religious right has been threatening and planning to take it away from us. Our rights to choose have never been more threatened than today. How dare they? When I was 7 years old, I remember seeing my mom cry for the first time. And they were tears of joy because she was a young mother and she was given the right to manage her family how she felt for the first time in her life. Roe versus Wade was life-changing for my mom and life-changing for me. The fact that that decision still held true when I was a young adult, it was life-altering for me too. Back in the early 90s, when the decision was again under serious attack, I was a young journalist and I took a pledge at work to be non-political. So, the very first time that I volunteered for a political cause, I did so for NARAL and JRAL, the Georgia branch of NARAL. I made calls to protect Roe versus Wade. I used a pseudonym. That's how important it was for me. And that's what sparked my interest in politics. That's where it began. Even in my 20s, it didn't make any sense for privileged white men to have the power over my body. I asked myself, where are the women leaders? Where are the people that understand that I need control over my own body? Nationally, we have made progress, but not enough. Women make up only 27% of the leadership in the House and the Senate. The 2020 census counted 330 million of us women, making us a slim majority in this country. I share these numbers because it is important for that, 4-year-old girl there, the 25-year-old women here. We need to see more women with decision-making power. And those decisions have to be made by women who care about the rights of everyone, regardless of gender. But there is hope, and I'm going to keep this quick. There is hope. We are hearing from them today. Mayor Patterson has been a local role model for me and my children for all of their lives. Thank you, Elizabeth, for being there in Benicia. Christina Strawbridge has been a strong city council person for I don't know how long. Thank you, Christina. And now we have a woman of color representing us in the assembly. Thank you, Lori Wilson. Sharon, I'm glad you're still here. And we need Sharon Henry as Solano County District Attorney to show true leadership in the courts. We need a DA that represents all of us, not
not just those who are beholden to big campaign donors or others in power, especially with guns on their hips. All of us, every single one of us here today has the opportunity to create change. We all need to be involved. We all need to support women running for office. We need to make our voices and our dollars count when we see, feel, or are injured by injustice. Betty Lucas's letter to the editor in the Benicia Herald yesterday painted a frightening future for all of us. If we lose Roe versus Wade, what's next? Do we lose the right to marry the person that we love? Do we lose the right to take contraception? We simply cannot stand by and watch the religious right take us back to the Dark Ages. And with your passion, your determination, and your votes, we can overcome and put more women in office for smarter, more compassionate leadership. Thank you for making a difference. Thank you to the organizers. Thank you for being here and working so hard for a future where we all have a safe and equitable and quality of life for everyone. Let's go march.